Hello my friends, today we're doing another Mario Maker episode. On this particular video we're concentrating on African architecture, specifically from Zimbabwe and Mali. And for some bonus fun we'll also be featuring a Final Fantasy and Star Wars level as well. Let's start the show! Wow! Alrighty, this first level that we're looking at right here is inspired by the Great Zimbabwe Ruins, which of course comes from the country of Zimbabwe. I believe this is the first time we're talking about the Great Zimbabwe Ruins on the channel, but don't worry, it won't be the last either. Today's video is just meant to be a brief introduction. So let's delve into what went into this design. So what you can see right here is a big giant wall with a zigzag pattern. And you can see those kinds of zigzag patterns on some of the walls in the Great Zimbabwe Ruins. Also, you'll see that there's a big central structure at the top that's meant to be sort of reminiscent of the conical tower that is within the great enclosure. I might have rounded it a little more than I should have, but you get the point. Anyway, we also can see some pillars that are topped off with dry bones that have wings on their backs. Those are supposed to represent the Zimbabwe's bird monoliths. Now I know what you're thinking, why would you use the dry bones to represent birds? Well, in Mario Maker there aren't exactly any bird enemies, so I went with the dry bones. Gotta use your imagination! So now let's get into the game design, which actually takes some inspiration from the culture as well. At the start of this level, you'll enter a little cave that has a strange little sound effect in it. And the reason for that is, in the Great Zimbabwe, there's a cave that has really great acoustics, and if you were to speak in it, your voice will travel much farther than it usually would. So, I wanted to integrate this fun little fact into the level design as well. So when you enter this cave, you'll hear this sound effect, and then after that, you leave the cave and enter a small complex where you enter through a narrow passageway, which is similar to some of the narrow passageways in the Great Zimbabwe, and then you encounter 5 question blocks, and each of those question blocks have an assigned sound effect. So, you have to choose which sound effect is the right one, by simply remembering the one you heard before. And once you do that, you get a particular item that lets you progress, and then you can go on to summit the Great Zimbabwe and go across the whole level to the end goal. There's also a little secret in this level. On top of the conical tower there's a hidden block that has a key, and if you bring that key to the end of the level, you can find another area that has a whole ton of gold coins. The reason I did this is to reference the fact that this used to be a very powerful and wealthy kingdom at one point in history, before it turned into ruins, of course. So yeah, you can check out this level for yourself. The ID code will be in the description, and it's even on screen right now, so you can check that out in Mario Maker if you wish. This level, I believe, is one of my easier levels. The clear rate is 6.81%, at least at the time of this screenshot. I took this screenshot almost immediately after uploading the level, so there wasn't a whole lot of data on it yet. The world record holder was Jai Rees from, or is that Jai Rez? Whatever. From America. And, you know, it's an interesting story. I once actually had this level streamed. There was a live streamer, I forget who, streamed this particular level of mine. And this is something I wish Nintendo... There's something Nintendo I wish would be able to do, though. Perhaps it's a little unrealistic given how much memory space would be required for this. But it would have been great if they'd saved certain replays of players' playthroughs of your levels, so that you, as a game developer, could look at how the player was interacting with your levels, and then if certain things weren't working out the way you thought they would, you could go back in and redesign the level to make it better. And I say this because during that live stream I saw the person who was playing the game use a shelmet not as a protective tool as I had hoped they would use it for, but they kept trying to use it as a tool that you would use to progress through the level, which was not intended, and I think it caused him more difficulty because he tried to use it in that way. So going forward, maybe I should have just put a 1-up in there or something else, but oh well. But yeah, that's why I think it would have been great if Nintendo had integrated some replay mechanics so that level editors could improve their levels. And on that note, just in case Nintendo ever decides to bring Mario Maker to the Switch or something, if you get that game on the Switch, when you're making your levels, see if a friend or a family member can playtest it for you, because it's not always enough for you to playtest the level and make sure that it's beatable. You should really, and you would very much benefit from having other people playtest your level before you upload it. And always take those playtesters' opinions into account, because they are important and they will help you improve your game design. Alrighty, let's move on to the next level. Wah! So in this next level, we are of course talking about the architecture of Mali. Now the first building you'll encounter is inspired by the University of Timbuktu, and the building in the middle, which is of course the largest building on screen, is inspired by the Great Mosque of Djenne. We've actually talked about both of these buildings in previous videos of ours, and I would like to go into more detail about them in a future video. But the building on the very right has never been mentioned in any of my videos before, so I'd like to go into detail about that one today. What we're looking at here is a recreation of a shrine from the Dogon people. It's known as a Binu, and this particular sanctuary can be found in the village of Sunga. It's said to be a powerful locus, that's the word I was looking for, locus of spiritual energy. Within these shrines one can encounter the ancient ancestors. And to appease these powerful spirits, beer and blood are poured over the top of the face of the building. Doing this allows one to ask the spirits to bring forth fertility and prosperity to the village. You may have noticed that I called the front of this shrine the face of the building. That is because it literally represents a face. It has 2 eye-like openings, and of course the doorway is its mouth. Alrighty, let's get into the level design. Now this is one of my easier levels, at least in my opinion, but that's only if you find the secret cloud near the start of the level, which of course is in a hidden block. If you can't find that cloud, then it is actually quite difficult, because then you have to do some very precise jumping on these platforms that are sticking out from the side of the main building. These are meant to represent the wood that you can see on the Great Mosque of Djenne, and these wooden platforms are actually also meant to help you climb the building. Another thing you'll encounter on this representation of the Great Mosque is the chain chomps I put on top of some of the pillars. These are stand-ins for the ostrich eggs that are normally on top of pillars of Mali mosques. Now I know what you're thinking, if I wanted eggs, why didn't I use a Yoshi egg? Well, because I really wanted to use the Super Mario Bros. 3 theme, because the colors just worked much better than the Super Mario World theme did. And besides, the chain chomp is round, so it's egg-like enough, right? Anyway, the ostrich eggs that would be put on top of these pillars are representative of the creation of life and purity. And of course, once you get past that, all you have to do is jump down to the shrine below and get across some of the boos that are in your way, and then you're home free and you've won the level. The clear rate on this one is 7.84, and the world record holder is someone known as this guy. Wahoo! Speaking of architecture, in this Final Fantasy tribute, I recreated the Chaos Shrine from Final Fantasy 1. I tried to replicate it as best as I could, and even including a shelmet in place of where the cap equipment would be found. And you can even encounter random battles in this Chaos Shrine of mine. How did I manage that? Well, there's hidden blocks all over the place that have enemies in them. That's pretty much the the best you can do for random battles in the Mario game. Anyway, when you get to the very center of this area, you can of course enter a pipe, and then you are encountered with Bowser, who's a stand-in for Garland. And in this battle, you will see on the sides and on the bottom, I tried to recreate the archaic menu system of Final Fantasy I. If you manage to escape the labyrinth, there is a Moogle made out of coins that you can go check out. And if you're victorious in this battle, you'll actually get to hear the victory jingle. This level's actually kind of hard because the battle with Garland kind of takes a while. You have to use fireballs to get through. The clear rate here is 3.92, and the world record holder is Mart from the Netherlands. You know, I kind of wanted to make a Final Fantasy IV themed level, but I never got around to it. Oh well. Moving on! Wah! Buffet. And our final level for today is based on Star Wars, the first movie specifically. And in this you will see a recreation of the Millennium Falcon, some Star Destroyers, TIE Fighters, the X-Wing, and of course the Death Star. The goal through this is to navigate your way through space, fighting off the enemies, and then entering the Death Star, so you can of course do the whole famous scene where Luke Skywalker blows up the Death Star. And while you're doing that famous trench run, you even encounter Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. After you get past all that, you'll see some bombs that you gotta shoot, and then you gotta get out of there. This is actually one of my most popular levels because people love Star Wars, of course. And let's see, the clear rate is 21.26%. That's a really high clear rate, so obviously one of my easier levels. And the world record holder is a girl who's calling herself Haha, who comes from the United States. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, my friends. Before you go, I want to do a little update for everyone. Some of you may be wondering where the Avengers review video is. That will come in time. I actually haven't got a chance to see it yet. See, typically with me, I usually watch movies in theaters with my family, and we're generally not the type of people who watch things the first day it comes out. I made an exception for Black Panther because it was a very important film, and I will try to watch the Avengers sometime soon, but I just haven't yet because I've been very busy this week. When I do get a chance to see the movie, I will be doing a review for it. I don't know if the Avengers will have anything educational for me to talk about, but I'll do a review for it regardless because we don't always have to do educational videos for every single thing. And I'm sure some of my viewers would like to know what my thoughts are on the movie. Another thing I thought I should update everyone on is that Johanse movie that I was talking to you about earlier has been funded, so in some time we will get to see that movie, and that should be pretty awesome, and you can definitely expect me to review that as well. Thanks for watching everyone, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe.